The 1.20 snapshots are officially out, and man, they're adding so much stuff to this update. We've got the bamboo blocks, we've got the new cherry wood and the new cherry grove biome, we're getting archaeology with the new clay pots, we're getting a new generated structure with the trail ruins, and so many more things. I don't know about you, but I am so excited to finally be able to play with these things, which is why I'm going to be doing a series of videos here in which I teach you and give you a few tips on how to use these new blocks, starting with the bamboo wood today. Here we have all the blocks in the bamboo wood set. We have the green wood, the stripped variant, and then all the different planks and this mosaic. But of course, because it's a 1.20 update, we also have the hanging sign, which I love. Instead of a boring sign like this, you have the hanging variant. It's quite nice. The textures are brilliant. They've done such a good job making them all like tile and fit together and stuff, but we'll get into that. First, I just want to show some basic like block palettes here. We've got the oak wood goes quite well with the bamboo wood, same with birch and jungle. They're very similar colors to each other, and I think the sandstone and even maybe endstone goes with it quite well too. It's quite a unique shade of yellow, and we don't really have any blocks that have the shade of yellow in the game already. And that's quite a good thing because they're actually adding new blocks that fill out gaps in the color palette that we haven't had before. So this is my kind of yellow color spectrum here. We're kind of like in the middle of the brightness scale. We have like the most bright and deep yellows over here, and the more lighter yellows going down to even like, I'd call this white really. Pretty much right in the middle here is the bamboo. It's quite a nice shade of yellow, to be honest. I quite like it. And then for the green bamboo, it goes well with like basically any green block. I think specifically this shade of copper, the weathered variety, and moss especially, it goes well with mossy cobblestone and mossy stone bricks because of course they're also plants. First up here we have some very basic builds. These are literally just using the bamboo blocks and the dried bamboo blocks or stripped bamboo, and we're just stacking them. Literally just stacking them. But I think if you had a bamboo farm, these would do very good just to show the kind of process of creating the bamboo. In my worlds, I really like to do this where next to my farms or near my farms, I have like some kind of thing where it's like processing the materials that have been made, and it's kind of a similar idea to the kelp block and the hay bale, where you've got like the bundles of a certain block where it's kind of like a storage. You've got these logs here which have that same vibe to them, and you can also add these little straps onto it to show that it's been strapped down, it's ready for transport or ready for storage maybe. And I just think it's pretty neat looking with the kind of compacted bamboo texture here. And then over here, we have the process of drying bamboo. Now, in real life, a lot of bamboo drying farms, they have the bamboo in like a cone shape. But of course, cones are very hard to make in Minecraft at this kind of scale. So I kind of gone for a compromise where the bamboo is kind of being hung off this like railing here. I think that does look pretty neat. And again, that can kind of add to the whole bamboo farm vibe. It's kind of showing how you're going to be drying out the bamboo to create the stripped variety. Well, I guess in Minecraft you're actually stripping the bamboo, but I think in real life to get this kind of bamboo you would be drying it. I'm not a bamboo expert. Alright, next up we have just a little house that I built, and I think the bamboo does pair very well with hay bales here as like a little thatch roof. I've always enjoyed using hay bales as like thatch roofs like this. It just gives it a nice like cottage vibe, like a cottage core, I guess. Yeah, it works very well as walls. I've used it as like a tiled floor here. I really like just the general look of this. It's like tiles. It's quite an interesting texture that we've never had before. These like very small squares in a grid like this. Might do good in like a bathroom setting if you're building a more like modern style house. And I just think stuff like this just shows how much variety you can do with some of the blocks they're adding in. The texture artists in this game are brilliant. They've added so many ways to connect the new blocks together and make new interesting patterns and textures with them, and this is just one example where I've got the same kind of grid texture but just alternating the colours, and I think that actually is more pleasing to the eye than one solid colour. It just adds a little bit of variation in there and it's not too much of an eyesore, you know? For this one, we're using a combination of the bamboo mosaic and the stripped bamboo, but this side texture, and with that, they connect perfectly from this bit of the mosaic to the stripped bamboo. So you can have these like diagonal textures here by just quite simply, I'll show you how to build this. So you just do this in a crisscross pattern, and then place the stripped bamboo in the middle here, and it has that effect where you've got the diagonal tiles going across. It's just extremely pleasing pattern, and they'll do very well for a flooring. And then this is another pattern, a bit more complicated. What you've got here is you've got the same kind of thing with the mosaic, but instead of doing it all in one direction, you're doing it like this. So you've got one that going that way, you've got two going in that direction, one going up, and then two going to the side. So it's like, it makes these like little blocks of 8 here. I do kind of like that. I think it does get a little bit busy. I do like this one better, but that's also another option you can do with the bamboo mosaics here. And there's probably so many more that I haven't been able to think of here, but you know, that just shows how good these blocks are. This in particular, literally just tiling the bamboo mosaic is very good for a wallpaper design. Simple, but effective. You know, if you're going for that color palette, very, very good for a wall. You can add like a trim to the side if you want with the stripped bamboo. I think that's very, very nice just to kind of break it up a little bit. Very simple, but lovely. I think any of these designs too could work very well for a wall. Again, very, very simple, just alternating the colors in pillars of 2 going down like that. Very, very simple design, but very effective, I think. And I think the trapdoors, hi sheep, make a good trim along the bottom here. It's like kind of ornate almost, just the texturing, very delicate ornate texture. It works for the inside of a house, I think. Okay, going deeper into the jungle now, and we've got a little building here, demonstrating how you can use the green bamboo blocks to fit into a more mossy vibe here. They do make very good like corners for a building, very good floor as well, and very realistic. Someone in the jungle, you might use stuff like bamboo to make your buildings out of, or give supports. Of course, these are just like example buildings. I don't imagine this exact thing is something that you would build in your world, but I'm just kind of trying to give examples here to try and give you some ideas of what you could do with like color palettes and styles and stuff. Okay, we're getting through them quite quick, but I have another little structure here, just kind of showing off another color palette that you can use. So yeah, so I kind of called this like eco-architecture. I'm not sure if that is a term people use, but I just thought that like, that's the vibe this gives off. We've got the grass roof here, which I love. It's one of my favorite things I built for this video, I think. And it just gives off that ecological, natural vibe, where you're building out of all these kind of like natural materials, like the sandstone and the bamboo. Up here, just to mask the dirt, we've got the trapdoors on the roof. And I just think this is like a really effective thing. For the windows here, we have the trapdoors for the bamboo. And I just think, yeah, I could definitely see myself going further with this style and building some like proper buildings with it. This building in particular was inspired by a build that DocM77 did in Hermitcraft. I think it's like his shop in the kind of shopping area. We got given these really cool bamboo rafts in this update, which is a really nice twist on the regular boat, I think. I don't think a regular bamboo boat would have really worked. So the raft, very nice addition, just to give, again, a little bit of extra variation to things. So going along with that theme, I've kind of built a bigger version of that here. Maybe something that would hold more than one person. If you're basing in a jungle, something like that. You might add these in the waterways just to kind of, again, add a little bit more detail to your Minecraft base. And of course, the build itself is nothing special, but I just want to get those ideas out there, those ideas flowing. And I've just come up with a brilliant use for the hanging signs. I've added these poles onto the side, kind of mimicking the oars on here. Look at that. The hanging sign makes the perfect, like, end of the oar, the scooping side. I think that works really, really well. And I literally just came up with that on the spot too. Okay, this is more like something you might actually want to build in your survival world. I quite like this house design. Probably one of my favorite things I built for this video. And it's just quite quaint, isn't it? Quite nice. As the signs say here, it's like a traditional bamboo style house. On stilts, sitting in the water, which is something that you might see in like parts of India and other Asian countries too. Especially in countries that have a lot of water and are maybe more prone to flooding, they would build their houses on stilts like this to prevent the inside of the house from flooding. sticking with entirely bamboo blocks. Maybe in your actual world, you might want to change up some of the blocks, maybe make it not all bamboo, but I just want to showcase the actual blocks we're talking about here. We got the fence gates as the railings here, which I love doing. And this might make a good like little starter base if you need, you know, quickly get something together, especially if you spawn in a jungle. The bamboo blocks are so cheap because bamboo is so easy to get. Or if you want to expand on this idea, maybe even make a full bamboo village with houses in this style. You know, on the water here, you could have a full-on bamboo village, but then you can have like the bridges coming out here, connecting the different houses together. That is something that I would actually quite like to make in my world, actually. And talking of bridges, I have a couple of bamboo bridge designs here. Something that you'd see in the real world, in the kind of areas that have bamboo, is that a lot of things are made out of bamboo, including stuff like bridges, scaffolding. Of course, in the Minecraft game itself, we have scaffolding made out of bamboo, and that is based on real life because there are a lot of places in the world that have more access to bamboo. A more simple bridge here with one support, just kind of a singular log with some trapdoors going across. Very simplistic, but also quite realistic too. I personally really love little details like this in your Minecraft world. Something that's really like easy to build, but also adds an element of realism and just something else to look at. Like, it doesn't have to be something super grand, or it could be something a bit more bigger, a bit more grand, like this bamboo bridge that has a full-on roof and more big supports, and it's 2 blocks wide. It has some railings here with the bamboo sign, just adding a little bit more detail. I wonder what this would look like. Oh, that is nice actually. I quite like that. Scaffolding is a cool block. This is a bit of a silly one, but have you seen in films where there's like a samurai training thing and they have like the bamboo poles that they have to like jump between? It's a very, very specific and niche thing, but I thought if you are building something that is that specific and niche, this in particular might be quite good for that. And I'm not sure if that's something that is actually in real life, if that was a thing that ninjas or samurais actually used. It's definitely something I've seen in the movies, and I can't do this parkour for the life of me. And I also just love making little parkour challenges as well, so I had to put some kind of parkour in here. That's not exactly the same as it is in the films, but it actually has quite a nice vibe to it with the shape there. And now we have a hole here where I'm going to be showing you a few lighting things you can do. This is just using the trap door from the bamboo set and just, you know, a few other things to decorate the room here, and just putting a few different types of blocks behind the trap door to create some nice little lights. Of course, these can go in the ceiling, in the wall, in the floor, but I thought that this kind of frames the light very well. I think they definitely know that builders use the trapdoors for not necessarily being a trapdoor, but for adding extra details to builds, and that's the same with like stairs and slabs. But yeah, let's go through these now. So that is the ochre frog light. We've got the sea lantern here. We've got the redstone lamp, which I love. Quite like that color palette there. We have a regular lantern here. I do quite love how it frames the lantern in the middle of the transparent part there. We have the campfire, which is a similar thing to the lantern there, especially if you are going for that kind of jungle type build. Things on fire definitely fits that vibe, I think. We have some candles here, which again is similar to those two. It's the same kind of depth, the same framing of it right in the center. Love it. And we got glowstone and this block, the shroom light. I always forget what that block's called. It's the shroom light. This is another example of that mosaic floor. And last but not least here, we have some more lighting things, which I really love, and I saved these to last for a reason. We're actually using the chiseled bookshelf here, which I will get to in a separate video on different ways you can use these. We're just using that as a little like intricate nice detail for the base of the bamboo here. So we've got these bamboo pillars with the candles in them, which again, something you might see in real life. If you're having a Japanese style base or living in a jungle, something like that, these go a long way to add to that vibe, I think. Here's 3 more designs using that basic formula with the 2 tall with the lighting block on the top. You have a yellow candle, same as that, but just yellow. We have a torch, which I think works quite well. Bit of a weird one, but I thought I'd include it anyway. We have the end rod upside down sticking into the thing. I just included this because again it fits the same 4 pixel thing there. kind of a more sci-fi type street light here. I'm not too sure, but I thought, you know, I'd show it anyway. I love building lighting, so here's a couple more. Well, that isn't lighting. That's a banner. The banner fits very well in the kind of round hole at the top of the bamboo fence here. The whole vibe of like the banner, I think really does fit into a jungle setting. Having it with the bamboo just makes it fit in all the more. I can imagine if you had like a big village or a big city that you would dot these around the whole like yellow and green color palette is the thing they use there. That would be quite a good color palette. The green, the yellow, and that fits in with the color of the jungle, the color of the bamboo itself, and also the color of the green bamboo. A really, really interesting color palette to do for a base, and I kind of want to design that now. Finally, we have this kind of torch here with using 2 campfires. Again, we got that idea of flames. It's something that you would see in this setting. The bamboo really complements the colors, the orange colours of this very well. The trapdoors add a little bit of intricacy, a little bit of extra detail. I am so happy with all the designs I've created here today. I hope they've inspired you somehow. And I just love these blocks that Mojang has been adding recently. They've really been on their A game with the designs and with the textures they've been adding. Big props to the texture artists because they're adding some of the best blocks to the game. If you like the video, consider giving it a like. If you think someone else might like this video, consider sharing it with them because this is an entirely new channel and I really want this channel to do good and succeed. Tell me in the comments, what was your favourite build from this video? Personally, I think mine was the bamboo hut over here. I just love that and I love how it was inspired by a real type of architecture that you'll see in the real world. So yes, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in the next video, which will be cherry wood.